So roughly it will be whatever Dr. Gagan has shared. So I will maybe tweak it and slightly, but more or less we all know the flow.
Yeah. So each person gets 5 minutes, sir.
2 to 3
Every
minutes,
round,
I think.
2 to 3 minutes should be okay.
2 to 3
Perfect.
minutes. Don't make it very
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to finish like 9 into 327
Great.
and
That's
maybe 2.5 minutes from your side, 30 seconds I will take to
yeah.
just
Kind of or summarize.
make the transition. Yeah.
Rishi, you can complete and finish the session because I
Okay. I
do
will do it.
something else at the end, so I'll log off then.
Hmm.
Yeah. Great.
Jayashree ma'am, you are mute.
Ma'am, we are live on Facebook, sir. We
All
can
right. Right. Good evening, friends. Warm welcome to the ESI Facebook Live. This is a Facebook Live from the Diabetes in Pregnancy Task Force of the Endocrine Society of India. I am Dr. Gagan Priya, endocrinologist at Fortis Hospital, Mohali, and an executive committee member of ESI. It is my pleasure to welcome you all and introduce a distinguished panel of experts who will take us through
8 o'clock.
one of the most common topics, that is a question that we get asked every day in our clinics. If I have gestational diabetes, what should I eat? That is a quintessential question, and almost 85% of GDM can be controlled with diet, physical activity, and other lifestyle measures. So for this panel, we have to lead the panel my co-convener of the task force, Dr. Saptrishi Bhattacharya, who is also an executive committee member of ESI and a senior consultant at Indraprasth Apollo Hospital, Delhi. Warm welcome, Dr. Saptrishi.
Thank you. Thank you.
And other members of the panel, we have a distinguished panel with Dr. Jayashree Swain, a dynamic endocrinologist from Bhubaneswar. She works at the IMS in some hospital, Bhubaneswar. Dr. Madhvi Varpula at Medicover, Hyderabad, again, another dynamic endocrinologist, and another executive committee member of ESI, Dr. Basavraj Saragunda, who works in Bangalore and is also quite active there. He works at Narayana and Shashi Hospital. So warm welcome, and I'll hand the session to Dr. Saptrishi.
Thank you, Dr. Gagan Priya, for the kind introduction. So there is an echo somewhere, I think.
So your mobile, there must be some link open. You can just continue that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about gestational diabetes, and this is one of the most common metabolic disorders we see during pregnancy. Actually, the number of people who have gestational diabetes during pregnancy is like 1 in 5. So almost 20% of pregnancies will have a component of gestational diabetes mellitus, and managing it is important because it's not only important to for the immediate pregnancy, but it has important implications for the long term growth of the child and the risk of metabolic complication later on for the baby. And also it's an indicator, a red flag for the mother that there is a higher tendency for diabetes. So as Dr. Gaganpriya told, that most of gestational diabetes, many of the cases actually we start with a trial of diet changes, and many times we're actually successful by diet and lifestyle changes only. So that is something which is quite unique, even though the numbers are high, but the numbers can be but the condition can be managed by a very simple way. So we are going to talk about diet, which remains the cornerstone and pillar of managing gestational diabetes. And we have three very uh, distinguished panelists who keep on seeing people with GDM, women with GDM day in and day out in their daily practice. And I will start with Dr. Jayashree. Dr. Jayashree, so we are talking about diet. So what will a plate like gestational a woman has been diagnosed with gestational diabetes mellitus, what will a plate look like? So, do we restrict calories? Do we encourage calories? Do we allow fat? Do we allow carbohydrates? Do we encourage protein? So, what should be the basic diet plan?
Uh, Thank you, ESI. thank you, let's for this ESI pregnancy task force, and they have given opportunity for and they are creating public awareness. And thank you, Dr. Gagan, Dr. Saptarshi, nicely moderating and nicely setting this contest. And coming to this plate size in gestational diabetes, as Dr. Gagan has nicely elaborated for in first part, it has been controlled with the most of the gestational diabetes, they have been controlled with the diet, exercise, and Dr. Saptarshi has a vast experience regarding the gestational diabetes. So coming to particularly plate size, this plate method of gestational diabetes is one of the most effective and practical method. Why? It simplifies the portion control, carbohydrate distributions, and it also glycemic balance. It take care of the glycemic control. And if you look to this, basically GDM friendly plate, it is basically based on the non-starchy vegetables, which is half of this plate. And the second part is the lean protein, which is about 1/4 of this plate. And the third part is the control portions of the whole grain, which is another 1/4. So coming to these non-starchy vegetables, what are that? That may be the spinach, amethi, lauki, tinda, capsicum, bean, cucumber, green salad, or any form of the mixed vegetables. They are included in the half of the plate. Basically, the plate size should be this 9 inch. Then what does it provides? It provides fiber, vitamin, and these minerals. And what is its benefit of that non-starchy vegetables? It add bulk to this milk, and it helps flatten the rise of the glucose, postprandial glucose rise. It will flatten that. So next person will be the lean proteins. And among these lean protein, you can take paneer, egg, and dal, any form of the dal, moong dal, rajma, or any form of this dal you can take, tofu, cheese you can take, or meat without the fat you can take among the lean protein. Then what is the benefit? What benefit you are getting in that? That is, it slow this gastric emptying, it prevent the overeating, so that it enhance the satiety of a gestational diabetic woman. So among this, next coming to that, another 1/4 of this plate is whole grain. Among the whole grain, you can take chapati, khulka, or small kotori of that brown rice. Or if you are fond of this millet, you can take that of this ragi, jawar, or anything, squina, or anything. Here I would like to emphasize on one thing. This whole and less processed thing is better than this processed one. And regarding this fat, what Dr. Saptarshi has pointed somewhere in that talk. So you can take small amount of this fat, whether it is olive oil, groundnut oil, any form of this oil, because it will add some taste to this food. And thing is that it improve this satiety and some nutritional balance, nutritional absorptions may be there by additions of this fat. So to summarize that things, this plate, how this plate look like and what is this benefit. Plate method is not just a restricted diet. It is a structured diet and it is a flexible diet for each and every gestational diabetes patient. So I'll request Dr. Saptarshi to give some expert comment regarding this diet plan.
I think Dr. Jayashree, you have summarized it very well. So it has to be we don't first of all restrict calories since the mother it's a pregnancy which is there, and we need to ensure that the mother gets the right amount of calorie, and there has to be a balance of protein, carbohydrate, fibers, small quantities of fat, and you emphasize the role of whole grain food and fibers in that specifically. So if we move on to now, Dr. Madhavi, so Indian diet will be rich in cereal. So and people have this confusion that okay, can I eat roti? So in South India, people will be or East India, where Dr. Jayashree is there. So they will be asking, can I eat rice? Maybe in Rajasthan, if we move on, people will ask, oh, can we have millets? So how do we suggest women who have GDM about the cereal intake? So what is your suggestion for that?
Yeah, thank you for that question again. So, pregnant women with gestational diabetes are often really confused about this, depending upon the region, like you said. But what we can say is rice and roti need not be avoided completely. They can have roti, but provided, like was expressed, made with whole grain atta, whether it is wheat in some areas, it could be jawar, sorghum, bajra, whatever in some areas. So it should be made with a whole grain atta, and care should be taken to not prepare it with ghee and oil, because that's a pretty common practice in a lot of areas in India. So either during preparation or during consumption, they add ghee or oil. So that can be avoided. And again, it is very important to note that it should be consumed along with a good amount of protein and fiber containing food, like was explained. This is carb, so it is to be around one-fourth of the plate. So the remaining, the non-starchy vegetables, the lean protein, everything should be there in the plate, and this should be a part of the plate. And same thing goes for the rice also. They can consume rice, which is hand pound rice if it is tolerated. Some pregnant women do not tolerate it well. So we can go for a slightly less harsher rice, like single polish rice or low polish rice. And again, paired with good amount of good protein and generous amounts of fiber rich food. So the most important thing is portion control. And one thing that is very important is rotis. We can usually tell them about portion control. We can show the size of roti and say two pulkas and 1 cup dal, vegetables, curd, and they'll be following. But rice, we underestimate very, very often the amount of rice that comes with 1 cup. So the pregnant lady who's trying now, until she gets a grasp of how to visually measure, measuring it out for consumption is a very important thing for portion control. So it's not the actual content, but the amount of content and what we are eating it with. So that would be my suggestion to all pregnant women with gestational diabetes.
Thank you, Dr. Madhavi. So very well said. So we need to ensure that people do have complex carbohydrates, and that can be in the form of cereals. The more unpolished or more complex they are, so that's going to be better for the glycemic, to avoid the glycemic peak. And at the same time, we need to ensure that the portion is controlled. So you can, whatever is necessary, you can take, but don't go beyond a certain point. Dr. Basavraj, now I am going to ask you a very, very important question. So everybody thinks that fruits are good for health. So, and in pregnancy, people get advised, okay, Anna and people like that, the red color is very, very like
Yeah,
looks catchy, that and there is a concept that okay, this will help in anemia is a common problem during pregnancy, so this will help in increasing the hemoglobin as well. So how do we go about the fruit intake? Which fruits are okay? Which fruit should be avoided? Can we have pomegranate? Does it really help in anemia? So what's your take on that?
absolutely right. I think a lot of Indian ladies are fond of the color red or pink. They feel that the child is pink, then they feel the child is healthy. So the same color they would want to replicate by eating more apples or pomegranate. Definitely, yes, they are healthy, but not that eating these fruits only is going to give you a healthy baby. So now, just for the broader for all of us to remember, when it comes to fruit, I have picked up something called as the ESI rule, the Endocrine Society of India rule. E stands for eat one portion only. S stands for separate it from the meals, and I stands it eat it in whole form. So that stands for ESI. So let me elaborate all of this. One, eat. E stands for eat one portion only. What does one portion consist of? 10 to 15 grams of fruit, carbohydrate from a fruit, a small apple, orange, pear, a very small banana, not the robusta one, a small banana probably. If you crave for mangoes, probably half a cup or something, if at all, if it's a season and then you eat, don't overdo anything. So you'll have to probably space it also. That comes is your S. S stands for separate it from the meals. Why? Because if you club it with the whole meal or with the meal or something else, then the sugars are going to spike. So that is why what again I put it as maintain at least a 2 hour gap from your meal so that the sugar spikes are also lesser. So the best timings would be somewhere around a mid morning, probably 2 hours after breakfast, or mid evening, somewhere around 4 to 5 p.m. should be the problem. It should be a good time for you to have these fruits. in whole form. I stands for in whole form. Strictly avoid fruit juices, milkshakes with added sugars, smoothies with added sugars, blended fruit drinks avoid, because this is all example. Your fruit juices is basically the fruits minus the fiber. It is just water with some vitamins or some sugar. So the fruit, the fiber goes away. Everyone throws that, filters and throws that. So that's again a problem. It's just like a car, a fruit without a brake. So it's just going, the sugar keeps going. So if you want to put a brake for the sugar, so have whole fruit. So you can add other good fibers also, which can be a small cup of if at all you like, along with fruit, a small cup of curd, or something which is good in fiber. So those things can be added to this. So ultimately, eat. So let me get back to the ESI. What I mean, eat one portion only. S stands for space it adequately or separate it from the meals. I stands for in whole form. So I think that in a crux gives us a good idea about the fruits thing.
Thank you, Dr. Basavaraj. That was quite a unique way of expressing it.
Mm.
So I learned a new mnemonic today. So I hope everybody who is listening to us will remember ESI, both for both as Endocrine Society of India and also for how they are going to manage their food portions in GDM. So another, so what we have been trying to reinforce again and again is that in gestational diabetes, the glycemic pattern, the blood glucose pattern is quite unique. So the baby tends to draw glucose from the mother. So mother is the source of the calorie, source of glucose for the baby. So whenever there is a long gap, the appetite, the mother feels hungry. So that is natural in pregnancy. But what happens is that the handling of the glucose is impaired because of hormonal changes of pregnancy. So, and there is a rise in blood glucose immediately after you eat something. So that rise actually causes hormonal changes and causes problem for the baby and for the pregnancy. So what we try to do is to have a smooth peak and not to have a very tall peak. It should be a flat peak. But Dr. Jayashree, it will be invariably we'll have a situation that after 2 3 hours, because of pregnancy, usually gestational diabetes occurs at 24 26 weeks, 20 24 to 28 weeks. So there will be increased calorie requirement at that time also, and part of the meal will actually come from snacks. So, what do you suggest for snacks after 2 to 3 hours of the whole meal? We have already discussed about the meal. So, how can a mother plan the snacks when she's feeling hungry?
Yeah, good question. Nice question. So, if you look to this snacks, it is a snacks planning plays a major role in this gestational diabetes management, glycemic management in gestational diabetes. How? It prevents this prolonged fasting. At stimulate it stabilizes the glucose level, and the last thing is it is avoid this large fluctuation which is between large excursions between these meal. These three are the basic principle how snacks is controlling the blood sugar in this gestational diabetes. So if you look to this all these guidelines or this all this literature, this best snacks in the gestational diabetes may be protein rich, it is fiber dense, minimally processed, and along with that it's paired with the modest amount of this carbohydrate. These four are the basic quality of a good snacks of a gestational diabetes mother, which will prevent the fluctuations of the glycemic controls. So for quick example of these snacks, you can take the plain curd or yogurt with some nut or seeds. Or second, you can take some roasted chana. In the village setup, you can take the roasted chana or sprouted moong dal. You can take with you can season it with the lemon, tomato, cucumber, coriander, like this. Or paneer cubes, which is a lightly seasoned paneer cube, you can take in betweens. Boiled egg, those who are non-vegetarians, they can take the boiled egg, which is also paired with the some amount of the vegetable sticks. And this whole grain in village setup, you can take these whole grain crackers with some nuts. These are the basic important snacks. And along with that, some fruits you can take small portion of this fruit, but that fruit should be with some nuts, like small piece of this apple with few nuts, or small piece of the guava with some few pieces of the cheese. These are the basic snacks you can take. But and as another important thing is that which is widely available, that is chila, dal chila, small dal chila you can take in betweens. But how frequently you can take these snacks? According to this, your medication, your hunger pattern, according to your gestational period, you can take 2.5 to 3 hours apart these snacks, small snacks you can take. And thing is that these women, those who can better, they can take snacks in betweens, they can better manage their glycemic control with less variability. They can reduce their craving for this food, and the improved glycemic control has been seen in those peoples they are taking snacks in between these meals. And this should be planned way, small. Basic thing is rich in protein, rich and fiber dense, with minimum carbohydrate, and what is available in their locality, you should prefer that.
Thank you, Dr. Jayashree. So, snacks will not only ensure that the mother gets the adequate amount of calories, and the blood glucose also, sometimes if there's a prolonged fasting, it tends to go down, so that can be avoided. And also it should be scientific, as the way you told, so that again there are not too much of glycemic peak and excession. So, Dr. Madhavi, we have been talking again and again that gestational diabetes is primarily, there is a, well, it might sound slightly complicated for everyone, but again there is a differential handling of the glucose by the body of the mother because of the changes, hormonal changes of pregnancy. That is the crux. So how specifically, and we know that the pregnancy outcomes, including the health of the fetus, the outcome of pregnancy, that depends on the post meal spike specifically that occur. So how can we specifically address those glucose peaks or glucose excursions or hyperglycemia episodes after food? So what is your tips for everyone, or for mothers with gestational diabetes, for that particular situation?
Yeah, post-meal sugar, like you said, is a sugar spike continues to be one of the biggest problems because mother, even if they slightly increase the calories, slightly take a higher GI food, there will be a sharp spike, and so that we always tell them to blunt that spike. So how we can overcome that? Firstly, as we have been speaking, recurring theme here is portion control. So if we that portion control, that smaller portions will definitely decrease the spike. And then next is the choice of food. So, as has been discussed many times, the choice of food, the more complex carbohydrate, and when it is especially paired with a good amount of protein and fiber-rich food, that helps. So, the crux of it is to include small portions of whole grain and complex carbohydrates, which are paired with proteins and fiber-rich food. So, this is what will help us in blunting. So apart from diet, we also have another small suggestion we can give, short walks after each meal. So after a meal, the pregnant lady can wait for maybe around 10-15 minutes and take a walk for about 15 to 20 minutes after each meal at whatever pace that is feasible for them. So sometimes advanced pregnancy, they may not walk fast. And somehow that is there for us, that brisk walk is the only thing that helps. So we should calm them down, tell them they can relax immediately after food, but walk for maybe 15 to 20 minutes after each meal. So it overall, to end of the day, it will be around 60 minutes of walk. And each meal, after each meal, the sugar spike will definitely blunt down with all these precautions. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Dr. Madhavi. So it's again the diet, and also a small amount of physical activity also might have a role. But again, that choice, sometimes mothers are advised bed rest, so you need to discuss that particular segment also sometimes with your obstetrician or the gynecologist. So
Yes.
otherwise, if you're allowed to
Yes.
work, you have not been advised bed rest. So small work really helps. So, Dr. Basavraj, again, moving on to a very important question. So, people have lots of myths about the types of sweets. Okay, people feel, okay, I'm avoiding sugars, I can have jaggery, I can have honey. And also there is some confusion about artificial sweeteners. So there are various types of artificial sweeteners. So some are like actually artificial, like maybe sucralose and aspartame, and there will be other like plant-based like stevia or monk fruit. So are they safe during pregnancy? Uh,
Yeah. So, yeah, moving on from the acronym, now we'll move on to some of the movies. Now, I want all the GDM mothers to become the female Bonds. So, I was just searching. So, there's this lady, character of the Bond movie, No Time to Die, Nomi, which is again done by Lynch, actress named called as Lynch. So, I want all the mothers, GDM mothers, to just try to remove the disguise of what all of these so-called sugars are wearing. So be it your brown sugar, be it your jaggery, be it your honey, are all the same. They're all just different forms of the same sweetener. Some is wearing a silk saree, some is wearing a brown suit, some is wearing a khadi kurta. So what you have to understand is you have to see beyond that. All of these things raise sugars. Basically, they are just combinations of glucose. And what it does, even if you take small, people think honey has got antioxidants and it might help. A lot of antioxidants will help me recover from my pregnancy, or rather improve with my pregnancy journey. But no, the antioxidant portion is very small. Honey is full of loaded with sugars. Same happens with jaggery. Jaggery is what? Molasses removed from sugar. So molasses sugar, brown sugar is again the similar kind of version of variety of sugars. So the calorie content doesn't change a lot here. So you got to be careful with all of these things. They're as bad as the white sugar. Now coming to the sugar free. Always there are again some of these marketed sugar-free biscuits, sugar-free bars, or whatever. Now there are two kinds of them. One which are basically marketing gimmicks. So again, you'll have to put on a bond, not seven wala hat, and then try to figure out, read the label, try to find out the sugars and other things, and that is one. Second thing is, then there are these real good ones which do not have direct sugars, but yes, they might have some refined flour, they might have some oil. So the best way to deal with all of these things is that to probably try to read the packets, try to understand. And one best way is when there's too much of craving, go with the normal routine sugar or some of the sweets which is prepared in home, but at a very minimal quantity, just to take care of those urges which come in the pregnancy. And I keep telling to my patients, what is that pregnancy if you don't yield up to these urges? So these cravings rather. So you don't enjoy the pregnancy well. I'm not a lady, but whatever I have understood through my wife, that is what you'll have to enjoy the cravings. So that is what it means. But the point is you'll have to understand where to hold yourself from enjoying these cravings is what I simply put up. Now coming to those sugar-free aspartame, we do not have long-term safety data for pregnancy, so better avoid.
Thank you, Dr. Basav. So obviously, so pregnancy is one of the sweetest time for any family,
Yeah.
especially the mother. So we do need to understand the social requirements, the emotional needs, but also whatever is needed for the baby is also the health aspect should also feature in, and we need to ensure that the baby and the mother both remains healthy. Now moving on to Dr. Jayashree. So, many in North India, maybe not in so much in East India, from where you are staying now, and where I used to stay. So, people have a lot of protein from say fish and other chicken and things like that. But in North India and maybe in some sections of South India also, no, many are vegetarian, and actually they depend on milk products or dairy products for their protein requirement. So that is again, so milk, we all know that it's a good source of protein. So how much of milk actually can mothers with GDM consume?
Good, nice questions. That milk and the dairy product, it's form of an important part of the nutrition in the pregnant mother. So also the gestational diabetic mother. As you have described, it contained high quantity of this protein, calcium, vitamin B12, and other essential micronutrients. But gestational diabetes, it should not be restricted. It is consumed in a mindful way. So if you look to these, most of these guidelines or recommendation, there is 2 to 4 serving of this dairy per day is safe for a pregnant lady or gestational diabetic mother. So what do you mean by the serving? One serving of this milk is 1 cup, that is 200 to 400 ml. If you look to the one serving of this curd, that is 150 to 240 grams of the curd, unsweetened curd or yogurt. So this is the recommendations given by most of the society. But here, plain curd are often better tolerated than that of the milk because natural fermentation is there and it will prevent the glucose absorptions, quick glucose absorptions. And I would like to request low fat and toned milk are better preferred because of it has nutritional value and it's less calorie content. For all gestational mother, low to fat or toned milks are preferred than these other things. Better to avoid that sweetened milk, flavored milk, condensed milk, milk shake, which are available freely, or health drinks, that is health drink powders, and that of the lassi, sweetened lassi. Better to avoid these milk products. So another important thing is that try to avoid this large glass of this milk with a heavy carbohydrate meal. Because of that, spike of this rise of the glucose is very high with that of the milk and milk product. So milk and milk product is not contraindicated. It is indicated. It is not restricted. So we should consume that thing in a mindful way. So this last message I want to give that dairy is beneficial, safe in this gestational diabetes mellitus as long as it is unsweetened, portion control, and appropriately timely.
Thank you,
This is the
Dr.
message.
Jayashree. So very nicely summed up. So milk is healthy. So if you are having it mindfully, it is encouraged to take milk during
Yeah.
pregnancy because it's a
Yeah.
important source of protein, especially for the vegetarians. Dr. Madhavi, so when you must be facing it in your daily practice, we all do face it that everybody tends to correlate the pregnancy, whether the pregnancy is going in the right direction by the amount of weight the mother is gaining. So is it always true that the mother needs to gain a lot of weight? So are there variations? So what are the challenges? If the fetus is gaining weight adequately, is that enough? Or in some cases, even if the mother is not getting so much weight, it doesn't sound that alarm. So maybe it will help to reassure so many of the women who have GDM and have issues related to weight gain or not or excess weight gain. So how do you counsel them?
Yeah, this is again a very important aspect of management for gestational diabetes. So, in general, like you said, the popular opinion is that the amount of weight gain in pregnancy parallels the health of the baby. So, that is a very, very common thing that we believe. That is not correct. So the amount of weight gain should actually be well planned and monitored properly. So ideally, we should have done this in a preconception counseling. So when the mother is planning pregnancy, so we can check the baseline BMI. Of course, sometimes it's not possible. So in the first visit, we can do that. So based on whether the mother is of a normal BMI meaning body mass index, this we measure with weight and height parameters. So based on her BMI, whether if she's normal body weight, normal BMI prior to conception, she can gain around 11 to 16 kgs in the pregnancy. So for overweight women, we should get it down slightly to 7 to 11 kgs throughout pregnancy. And in obese women, we should decrease the gain further to 5 to 9 kgs that can be allowed. And the pregnant women should first be told that the first trimester or the initial 12 to 16 weeks, the weight gain will not be tremendous. It will be probably 1 or 2 kgs. Some women can actually lose weight in the first trimester because of vomitings, not eating, and that should also be told and explained to them. And the whatever weight gain that we plan for this lady, it should be told to her, and we should tell that the weight gain should be a slow, steady weight gain. Mostly, it will occur in the second half of pregnancy. And if there is any change from what we want during the next visit, so that should be taken care of. Why is there change? It need not always be diet. Sometimes it could be other reasons like salt and water retention. So, or it could be increased calorific weight. So, if we have a baseline of what we expect and what we want, we will monitor. So that would be my advice to all pregnant mothers. So talk to the doctor, have a goal, and try to stay within that goal.
Yeah, I think very well said. So it's not that weight gain is the only indicator that the pregnancy is healthy or the pregnancy is safe. So it depends. So again, like so many other things in diabetes management and pregnancy, when you are dealing with pregnancy, it has to be individualized depending on the baseline. So
I
Dr.
think, I think,
Basavraj,
I think,
so
I think, I think I will like add one sentence here. It is a red flag sign. If more weight gain is there, less weight gain is there in all pregnancy, but it is in the gestational diabetes, it should be a red flag sign.
right, right. So it again depends on so many other factors. So if you have any query related to it, it's best to talk to your obstetrician and also maybe take an input from the endocrinologist. So Dr. Basavraj, you are coming towards the end, and so to remember Chetan Bhagat, so there are the three mistakes of life. So what are the three common mistakes of GDM? Maybe you can tell two, and we will get one from Dr. Jayashree and Dr. Madhavi, and then ultimately finish the program.
Perfect. Thank you. See, I think pregnancy per se, I call it as a big celebration. So for the family, for the mother. So I think the whole mood should be in a festive way. I see it as a big celebration for the family itself. And in the modern life, I don't think many of us would be willing for more pregnancy, one or max two. Probably unlike that, keep the good olden days there where pregnancy keeps happening. But so I think we need to celebrate. So out of this big celebration, remember three bigs which you need to avoid. Big plates, big gaps, big glasses. Simple thing. Big celebration, celebrate beautifully well. Leave all your headaches to your endocrinologist. Come to them, talk to them, give all your sugar headaches to them, but only avoid three big mistakes: big plates, big gaps, and big glasses. Don't have big meals loaded with carbohydrates. That's number one. Big gaps. Don't give a lot of gap. Eat some small snack in between. So that's one. Second one. Third one is big glasses. Big glasses is don't take anything which is huge in quantity with your fruit juices, smoothies, or even for that matter, a huge amount of milk or something like that. So I think eat slow, eat small, and stop when you are 80% full. Eat some of these small snacking should be okay. And I think that is how the whole pregnancy journey should be.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basav. So your answers have been really quite unique. So again, one uh, sentence from Dr. Jayashree. One mistake to be avoided in GDM pregnancies with GDM.
Actually, I will take 3 point. I'll clarify here with the 3 point. Gestational diabetes, pre-conception monitoring counseling is very much essential. Second point, regular monitoring, maybe frequent monitoring is essential. The third point, the good glycemic control is very essential for a safe mother and safe baby.
Yeah, so
These
I
three
think
points.
that's very important. So we'll have a more detailed discussion on one of the on the next Facebook Live about how we go about monitoring in GDM. So you only discussed how to control the diet. So Dr. Madhavi, your comment, one mistake to be avoided.
My one sentence would be to avoid comparison. I see a lot of pregnant women comparing their targets with either their father-in-law's sugars or husband's sugars, and they find these are very constricting, restricting, and they compare the doses that other GDM mothers are taking, and it's very difficult if we start doing that. So in one sentence, please let the doctor take an individual decision and follow the doctor. Do not compare with others. You are unique in every way, so your medication treatment management will also be unique.
So thank you, Dr. Madhavi. Yeah, so every pregnancy is unique, every situation is unique, and we need to individualize our treatment so that we can give the best outcome for the pregnancy, for the baby, for the family. So with that, I thank all of you who have joined and stayed back for today's discussion. I sincerely thank Dr. Gagan, who had planned most of these questions and might have stayed silently behind. But again, a huge thanks to Dr. Gagan Priya for the co-convener of the pregnancy ESI Diabetes in Pregnancy Task Force. Also, there are lots of people working behind this pregnancy diabetes in pregnancy task force of ESI. So thanks to all of them, and we plan to be with you, connect with you every month, and we try to make sure that whatever we discuss actually remains relevant and practical for your day-to-day application. So we try to share things which people ask us in our day-to-day OPD practice. So we thought that this would be an important avenue to reach out to you so that we can give you more comprehensive information about several aspects of pregnancy and specifically diabetes in pregnancy. Thank you once again. We look forward to meet you in the next meeting. Usually we have it on the third Wednesday of every month around 8 p.m. So we request all of you to join on the next third Wednesday. That will be in December for the next meeting with us. Thank you once again for connecting.
Thank you, Dr. Saptarshi.
Thank
you,
you
Dr.
so
Saptarshi.
much, the conveners
Thank
and
you,
ESI.
ESI. Thank you, ESI.